Welcome to Views from the Chixx. It is T, and I'm here with
Joey's here.
And Kwan is here as well.
Ow! And we have a special guest. So I know you guys heard us in the last episode. We're talking about we're going to level up in 2018, but we leveling up. We keep leveling up. It just keeps getting better. I think 2018 is our year.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2018, we're focusing on interviewing a lot of guests. So we have a special guest with us tonight. We have Gabrielle Kwarteng. Did I say it right?
You got it.
Yay! I hate butchering people's names. I had to make sure I came correct. So I did.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Yay, welcome. So, for those you don't know, Gab, well, I don't know. So, do you have a DJ name? What should we call you?
I just go by my full name, Gabrielle Kwarteng. Depending on like the venue, they'll throw DJ in front. I personally don't. I don't want to be bound to it. Although I am a DJ, but I also consider myself just an all-around like music selector. I'm trying to get involved in other sort of like musical avenues. So I just, just prefer to go by my name and just keep it at that.
I love it.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, I know people have different like aliases because AKAs because they think it's cool, but sometimes your own name is cool enough.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's like your own identity.
It's your brand.
It's your brand. Your name is your brand.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it doesn't put you in a box like you were saying.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, so you don't have to be like, I'm only DJ.
You're right.
Like we're like Jersey Shore, DJ, whatever the guy's name, Pauly D or whatever his name.
Yeah.
Like you only know him as DJ, but like
you got a lot to live up to when you stick that into your name all the time.
Because then if you want to do something else, people are like, oh, but you're a DJ, so you should just,
Right.
stick to that.
Yeah. And I actually know like artists who sort of had to rebrand themselves. Like there's an artist, his name is Chet Baker, but now he's going by his full name, Nick Murphy. Now he goes by his name is like Chet Baker. Nick Murphy, formerly known as Chet Faker. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So like I remember when I saw that last year, I was kind of like, oh okay, like it's never too late. I mean, Prince did it 8 million times.
Exactly. I know. Rest in peace.
They will
follow.
Definitely legend.
Diddy goes by whatever he
Right.
he feels like at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, call me this and no more this. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's Snoop Dogg. Remember when he did Snoop Lion for a hot second?
Yes.
One of those things
Is
no
he
one
not
ever
that
talks about.
No.
That was his like Jamaican.
What is he now?
stance.
Just Snoop?
I don't even know. I think.
I hear people calling him Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. I think it is. Yeah.
I think
And
that's
also
what
that-
mainstream knows him as.
Yeah.
Because he has that show with like Martha Stewart, and
Yeah.
I think he goes by Snoop
Yeah.
Lion, no?
Oh, I don't
Right.
remember.
I don't remember.
I've
I
always
don't
seen
remember.
Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. I don't
think
remember
he
ever
buried
seeing-
the lion.
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm listening to any reggae or anything and I see Snoop Lion, I'm like, right. Yeah. But we wanted to have you on the show because we are 3 women and our focus is music and we are giving the female, I don't like the word female. We're giving I don't like,
Yeah.
I know, you
I feel
I got
so
you.
degrading when I say female.
Female.
I mean, it doesn't like
Giving
slide off.
the woman's perspective, just because the music industry or music what have you is very male dominated, and I feel like our voices kind of get lost and muddled in the whole grand scheme of things. So
Or the woman is the sidekick.
right. She doesn't have the voice; she's just there exactly as the sidekick
Yeah.
to whatever the larger conversation is. So.
And I hate when just like females.
Ross,
Yeah.
Ross,
Yeah.
female dog, female puppy,
yeah,
female.
Right.
I mean, it defines a sex,
Yeah.
but
She's a woman.
I'm a woman. Yeah, hear me roar.
Exactly.
But yeah, so with that being said, I feel like DJs are dominated by, it's a male dominated field, if that's the correct way to say it. So how did you embark on this male dominated field to make your mark as a woman?
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'd say I definitely took it seriously in college. I mean, since probably I had my first desktop in grade school. I must have been middle school when I began like burning CDs. So I'd always make like little mixtapes and playlists for friends. Like I just gift them just like, you know, if I thought of like 12 songs, like, oh, that's so this friend or so that friend, and, you know, personalize it. And yeah, so then
that's a great gift,
right?
Yeah. If somebody like made me a CD, you're like, this is for you.
And it's like, just fit for that person.
Oh, for sure. And exactly. Like, I love doing that. And actually, even before that, I remember I used to do it with cassettes. Like, back in the Walkman days, I would record whatever I liked on a radio and basically make my own, like, you know, cassettes. So, yeah, so taking it even back. But, yeah, so.
What y'all know about that?
Yeah. Bringing it back to speed and then, you know, cut to like, you know, MP3 downloads. So I remember, especially in college, I would have like music dates with friends. We go to the library and I just give them a ton of like my music. I just like share, you know.
So you were like essentially the plug.
Yeah, I guess. I was gonna say, oh yeah, of course. I guess.
The music plug. The music plug.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Joey. We call Joey the music A&R.
Oh,
music whisperer.
I have a good ear, I'll say.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that. Yeah.
So yeah, she puts us on. Like we all met in college. So in college, we call her the music whisperer. So she kind of like knows everyone's individual taste.
She would pinpoint. She was like, all of these people I don't watch in like 6 months. Watch what's gonna happen, and then we would go see them in concert, and then literally they like blow up on MTV, and then like she called it. She
She start managing some artists.
I told her.
Right.
Girl, you gonna be the A&R?
Yeah, she's the A&R. So she handles that.
Yes.
That's cool. So you started like in high school, and then what transpired into college?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would have music dates, and then I was on the college radio show.
Oh, nice. So you know a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, I was going to the studio, work my way around. But yeah, you know, I had a radio show. I'm from sophomore year, and by senior year, I was hosting with two of my like closest friends. And I think it was that senior year I like gifted myself, like I bought my first DJ controller, was teaching myself over Christmas break, then I came back like second semester like ready, like you know, going to house parties. I would like travel with it, like my friends, I remember like we'd like just see me holding it and my computer in my other arm.
Wow.
And yeah, we just
That's
like
a hustle, right?
yeah, we'd just go to house parties and would just play, and I'd have my iPod on me sometimes, like I remember sometimes like there'd be parties where I'm like, oh man, no one's feeling music. I'm like, I'm gonna just plug my iPod real quick. Like I got a playlist already. Yeah, exactly. So
I was like, whose phone is this?
I was like that person. So yeah, and then the rest was history. But then I took a like kind of hiatus post college. I like moved to London for a bit, and then I came back, and then I was like, tried other like creative stuff, and I was like, you know what, I need to return to DJing. Like I just missed music. Just
So then, sorry. I was gonna say, did your travels in London, did the scene out there like influence your decision to get back into DJing? Was there something there that like sparked it within you? Like, okay, when I get back to the States, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna pursue.
I wouldn't say necessarily. Admittedly, I think I was told like sometimes indirectly, you know, having like Ghanaian, West African parents, like it was kind of like it could be a hobby, you know, not necessarily something I think that I'm like gonna pursue. You know, I was actually on track to become a doctor. Like I was gonna like study medicine, then I like switched gears in the middle of college and then focus on English literature. And I think that was just my way of just like stepping out of, you know, being bound to like medicine, and I knew I wanted to do something creative. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just, you know, do music journalism or something. But I knew I really wanted to be in it. So I couldn't say there was like an actual defining moment, but it was like gradually. I think I was just like shedding whatever layers.
You were going through a journey all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when something's for you, it just kind of haunts you, right?
Yeah.
It just keeps coming back. You kind of can't get rid of it, and then you kind of like, you know what? You have that moment with yourself, and you're saying, you know what? Maybe this is what my path is, because it's just always things that lead you back to it.
Oh, absolutely. Not to mention, I'd go to like, you know, parties or bars or clubs, and there'd be an awesome DJ, and I'd just be mesmerized by the DJ. Just like, wow, like I love the way you just captivated the room and my attention, and I'm just like here for it, and I'm like, I want to be that person. And I'm like a shy person naturally, so like I love that like I can kind of hide behind the music, let it do the talking, you know, and yeah, so I feel like it was also just very natural for me.
I love that,
No,
for
I
real.
love that too. My question is, in your opinion, what do you think is like the difference between like the London music scene and maybe coming back to New York and seeing, you know, the music scene here, or just any sort of differences that you see? Even like party-wise,
Yeah.
like, do people party differently? Do they want to hear different things at a party?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can speak for at least the time that I was living there. I can also include, I also studied in Paris too, so I'd even say, I'm not even like, no, like for example, like, I just went back to, like,
Fly out the country.
no, but I'm just thinking about just my time in Europe in general, and I remember, I've always been really into, like, I've had an eclectic taste, you know, like, I mean, I grew up, you know, in New York, grew up in the Bronx, I grew up on hip-hop and whatnot. Yeah, you know, so, like, you know, I grew up with, you know, early 2000s hip-hop and R&B, but I was also, like, really into pop. I was really into rock, like, even metal at one point, you know what I mean?
Nice.
And I grew up, you know, family's from Ghana, so I grew up with, you know, Ghanaian high life, Nigerian, you know, high life and Afro beats and whatnot.
Oh
So,
how do you feel about Afro beats?
I'll get on that.
Oh, okay.
I
I ask about that.
got sentiments about that.
Okay.
No, but yeah, so I'd say, like, you know, and sadly enough, even like growing up, especially growing up uptown, like, because I was into, like, I had such an eclectic range, you know, sometimes I'd be called, like, a white girl for what I liked and, like, how I spoke and whatnot. And I'm
Why
like,
you
yeah.
listen to that?
Yeah, you know
like
what
that.
I mean? Like, I was really into Hilary Duff's first album.
Me
you know
too.
what I mean?
Oh,
Metamorphosis, you know what I mean?
That was so
Yeah,
good. It was like heavy rotation on Disney Channel. Like,
It was
Right.
all the time. They always played our music videos.
Right? But at the same time, you know, literally, you know, but I think that's why I always have my music on shuffle in the same, like, breath. Then the next song could be, like, I don't know, Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, I'm like, dang, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So returning to your question, yeah. So when I was in Paris and London, I just loved that it was like different, you know. This was in 2010, I think, or 11 when I was in Paris. So I remember disco, like new disco was really big, and like indie rock and all of that. So it was really cool going to parties and just hearing that, you know, like I wasn't just hearing like another Neptune's produced track or something, you know what I mean? Like I love Pharrell, don't get me wrong, but like it was just great. Just like I'm Shazamming different music, you know, and hearing like French pop, French disco, and same in the UK, like British like deep house and garage, and I love that. Like I love house music, you know, love funk, disco, and all of that. So it was really great hearing their subgenres, you know.
And I'm sure they're influenced on that side because there's so many different cultures and so many different
definitely.
the diversity over there. Maybe I don't know how diverse it is like separately, but there's a lot of influence on that side versus the States. It's just kind of like everything. You got the South, you got the, you know, New York is very different from Kentucky, I'm sure. But generally speaking, it's kind of like similar.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
They're
influences
very
it.
accepting of more cultures there. 'Cause it's kind of like a melting pot. New York is a melting pot of the U.S., but it's not like that.
Doesn't
around the
represent
rest of the
everything.
country.
You have people who have never seen a black person before. Like what?
for
Besides
sure.
television.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
happens. But yeah.
I know. I love how in Europe everybody's friends are like it's a rainbow. Even like when I go to Toronto, my cousin he has European friends, Swedish, like you name it, Indian. Like his range of friends are from various backgrounds.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, it's funny to me because only in America that I see that only black people hang out with black people. And he like asked me that question. He's like, do you have friends that are outside of your race? And I do have friends, but to say that they're close friends, I can't say that.
Yeah.
So there's always this kind of stigma here to develop that relationship because maybe there's some underlying tension. There's things that we can't relate on that because I feel like those relationships tend to be surface-based. We can never go deeper because of a lot of things that has transpired. That's how I feel personally from interactions I've had.
And that's also in this country, but even in high school, a lot of times music would bring people together.
Yes.
Like, I remember me and one of my really good friends who's, her family's Puerto Rican, we had a very heavy Jesse McCartney phase. And it was like,
that's big.
you know, like, you may look at us and think that, you know, one second we're listening to, like, Biggie or something, and then like Jesse McCartney comes on, and we're singing at the top of our lungs. You know, it's sometimes music will bring people in a space where people will start to relate. Oh, you like that song too? Oh, I like him too. Oh, you listen to this too? And then people will connect on that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's how it goes.
yes. So I had another question actually, which was more so about you.
Okay.
Just a you know, a little fun thing. If you were DJing a party, and you could imagine how whatever this party looked like, it's your ideal party. You know, you're imagining.
Okay.
And you're the DJ. Who's attending, and what are you playing?
Who's attending? What do you mean? God, I just hope everyone I love. Man, I got a list
guess
situation.
you're like ideal
Your
person
ideal
to
party.
be.
Like if you could imagine, you know, you're at a party, you're DJing, and you look up and you see the crowd. Who's in that crowd that you're like, oh my God, someone's at the party. I'm DJing.
You mean like kind of celebrity stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have, it
Yeah,
could,
it
have
could
to
be
be celebrity
it
or
could be whoever.
Who?
Or the party that you're DJing,
Okay.
you're like, oh, I made it. Oh yeah, this is good.
because
This
this
is
person
good.
here.
This is good.
Okay.
This is my mama
Oh,
made
yes.
it. My aha moment.
aha moment. So and so
Like,
is
oh, yeah.
vibing to me.
Okay. Dang. Okay.
Yeah, it could be like an Oscar
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
I know.
It could be like
whatever
a
yeah.
MTV award party,
Yeah,
after
yeah.
party.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say a few. Oh man, honestly, it'd be a really long list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, all right. So definitely, friends and family, of course, everyone that I love. You know, that's, you know, without being said. But I'd say like people that I really admire. From like Sade, who never makes appearances
I know.
anywhere, to like
She never goes anywhere but we
yeah,
love her.
right.
We love her. Love her.
So from Sade, who like it's like can't even. That's my girl. To Shaka Khan, to Mark Ronson, one of my favorite producers. To some like really like I don't know if it's fair to call them, but like underground kind of like big disco producers, like this guy named Joey Negro or Negro, I don't know how he pronounces it. There's another producer named The Reflex. Just like I just love what they do with like existing like disco tracks, and like you know these are like you know middle-aged guys. I'm not sure how The Reflex is actually, so my bad if you're listening. But like you know they'll just like the way they'll just flip the songs and just like extend certain parts, you know. Of like a Michael Jackson track or a Shaka Khan track, you know, I just love that. And, you know, like I'd imagine, you know, when I enter like, well, I mean, I've dabbled in producing, but I don't want to like really put that out there right now. And so like I got some stuff to back it up. But like, you know, that's how I'd imagine I like sort of work a track. So, yeah, but I mean, that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That's a good list of people.
Yeah,
I
no,
want to be at that party.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that Shaka?
Yeah.
Is she dancing? Is she
Yeah. That would be.
Oh, and Diana Ross, my bad.
Oh,
That's my
yes.
girl.
Yeah.
The party's already lit.
Yeah, I know, right? I had to throw it in there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let me get on the guest list.
Yeah.
Can I get in?
Y'all good.
So I love in how I listened to one of your mixes. I think I wrote it down. I think it was the what nighttime feels like. Episode 1.
So that's what nighttime feels like.
Yeah. So I was listening today at work and
Very
I felt
funky.
very funky.
Very funky.
But I feel like I was in a convertible, like a drop top down. I was on the coast of California, riding by the water, my hair blowing, whether it's out with my natural hair or the weave, it's just blowing. And I'm like not giving like 2 fucks, but I'm just cruising and like, I don't know, I may have a blunt in my, I don't know. That'd be kind of hard. But that's how I felt
Sitting on a
with
beach,
your music.
like-
Yeah. So I think the way your arrangement is like amazing, and it definitely sets a mood and it sets a tone. I know that you take your mixes very seriously and that you try to invoke some kind of culture or a learning experience to the listeners. So can you tell us a little bit about that and that process?
I think it's just my way of just exposing people to music, whether they like it or not. You know, it's like I'll have, you know, a very recognizable like disco hit, you know, maybe like a Rick James song, right?
Yes.
But then I'll follow it with like a Japanese disco song or like I don't know, like for instance, West Africa, they had a huge disco scene in the 70s. But you know, but like
I didn't know that.
yeah, you know what I mean.
know
But a lot
that
of people
either.
don't like. you know, I'll play a song and I'll be like, oh, this song was actually produced in like Cameroon or like, you know, Senegal or Nigeria. But like, you know, especially because like a lot of them will still, you know, perform in English, I think probably to make it marketable too at the time. Like you hear a slight accent, but if you don't really pay attention, you would have thought like it was produced somewhere in the States, you know. So I just love that I can just, you know, weave these sort of like, I guess kind of like rare gems into my mixes, and I think it's like they still like hold well collectively.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's reminiscent of you know, it reminds me of how people are bringing back that old school vibe. Like you have like Gambino with Awaken My Love, how he brought back that old school vibe, and then you have like the underground. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Selection Radio.
Oh yeah,
You know how they always feature like an old school jam, and I love that because it's bringing like a old school sound to fresh new faces, and then they have a new appreciation for that. Like that was really dope. What's that sample? Who's that guy? And they'll go and research that, and it's just like
and it's an education, like
exactly.
you said. Like, oh, I never knew this. Like, I never knew this was not the original song.
Right.
Now I know where the original.
Yeah.
There's so
came
many
from.
songs I've heard like now, and I'm just like, oh, that's just like. I was listening to some Kid Cudi song. I think it was "Man on the Moon," and then I heard like the original like playing in the background somewhere, and I'm just like, wait, he didn't. That's not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That actually happened to me in Ghana a few weeks ago. Like literally, you know what song? It was More Money, More Problems. It just dawned on me that it was sampled by Diana Ross. I'm Coming Out. And I was like, I knew that, but I was hearing it, and I was like, wait, I'm hearing Diana Ross. I'm not even hearing
You're not
More
hearing
Money, More Problems anymore. And I feel like, especially as I've like delved even deeper into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I'm just like my ears are even like they've sharpened so much. I like just pull it out. Sometimes I won't be able to identify the song's name, but I'm like, yo, this was sampled.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're like a walking Shazam.
That's the goal. That's the goal, honestly. But I'm always Shazamming. Like,
Me too. No matter
actually, like I'll be at a party, like just like I'm like.
Hold on 1 minute.
Like shushing my friends, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I just need to catch it. He's about to transition. I can hear it.
Yep.
I'm about to lose it.
That actually happened to us last week. A whole thing
I was like, what is it?
Shazam froze and it was over. I said,
It was over and then they switched, right? Oh, it's
I hate that
heartbreaking.
moment.
Oh, but I mean, and I always tell people, like, I'll go up to DJs because I'm like, I don't mind if you come up and ask me. Because, like, to me, it's a compliment, you know? Like, you're not coming up and asking me to switch my whole vibe. Then a lot of times people are like, are you going to play trap soon? I'm like, sorry, like, I was
going to ask you
Yeah.
that.
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
I put asking, requesting a song from the DJ, yay or nay?
Okay.
And
So-
when is it appropriate, I guess?
I think
If it is.
I'd say it's complicated, right? It's a
Okay.
bit complex.
Okay, explain.
All
Let's
right,
see.
because if you're clearly listening and you have a request that fits the vibe, then I appreciate it because I'm like, oh, this is someone who's clearly listening. Like someone that last Saturday was like, hey, do you have this like random 70s song? I forgot what it was, and I was like, oh no. But in my head, I was like, oh no. But I was like, great track. I was spinning vinyl, so I was like, oh, I don't have that on me, but like, cool request. And then other times I'll get a request like, oh, can you play, I don't know, what did I get? I'm trying to think of one of my more outlandish requests. And I was like, absolutely not, And also the delivery. Some people, will say it as if like it's like they're demanding or it's like,
oh, we're not vibing with what you
or
switch the music.
Yeah. Or as if it's like owed to them because they're, in the audience, they're a patron in this venue. And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You didn't book me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So do you get free will? Because I always tiptoe around that. Like if I'm booking you to be the DJ, because I've been to like weddings where people are upset that the DJ did not go the way they wanted, but you look at the crowd and everyone's having a great time.
Right.
But the person who booked you is upset. But like, how do you?
How do you? That?
Well, when it comes to being booked for personal events, I try to be as transparent in the beginning as possible and try to I'm very inquisitive. I ask a ton of questions and because I don't ever want to disappoint my clients. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, what vibe do you want? If this is what you want, I can't accommodate. So maybe I'm not the right person for you.
Right.
I've turned down requests. I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like you want I don't know, more 90s R&B. I'm like, cool, but I don't really play that. And I won't feel comfortable having you book me because I really want you to have the best experience. You know what I mean?
And then also, you're in a very creative field, so creativity comes from within. That's like your
Exactly.
natural gift.
Exactly.
So to have that altered, it's very hard to try to fit a different mold than your own.
Oh,
so.
yeah. And believe me, on my computer, I have over I don't know, at this point like 17,000 songs. So like I probably have a ton of like 3 hours worth of like 90s R&B.
Right.
But like you said, like I probably would kind of get bored, honestly, like solely
listening to
DJing
that,
that and
yeah.
not being able to like weave in one of like this really funky mix, like edit of a song that I found like the other day. I'm like so eager to play it, but I won't be able to. You know what I mean?
I mean,
that's
DJing
fair.
is being like a creative, right? You can never
Yeah.
put. I think we're all creatives.
Yeah.
You can't put creatives in a box.
You cannot.
Oh.
You have to give them that free will to express themselves, and if your job is that expression, you got to let that person kind of do their thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
And it's very, it's very, I guess, self-aware of you to know that, hey, I might not be
Right.
the best DJ that you're looking for, you know, so
yeah.
let me just tell you right now up front that may not work,
Yeah.
but, you know, you
Oh,
can find
totally.
someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not just gonna take your
I
money
was
and
gonna
then
say,
like
yeah.
We didn't
have
see
an
what you want.
ungruntled satisfied.
Right.
Yeah.
Not every
That's
DJ is
right.
for everybody.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
true. It's true.
one DJ serves all.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that
But
way.
a lot of people think they do. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You gotta do your
Crazy.
research, and you
Yeah.
have to know as someone booking like what field do you want, and then know who you're picking, and make sure you have that.